one more area director. All the way from the Jacksonville area, for Division F, Area 64, our contest masters today, Julie McLean.
Thank you so much, Edwin. For those of you who were at the last contest, you must have liked me as the test contest master, because here I am again. Not the test contest master now, I am the true contest master. Hopefully those of you who were not here earlier will have a good time. We're going to celebrate these contests and these contestants, and we're going to look forward to going further onto the division and onto the district contests after that. We're going to start out with our table topics today. And the purpose of the Table Topics contest is to provide an opportunity to learn by observing the more proficient speakers who have benefited from their Toastmasters training, to encourage development of impromptu and extemporaneous speaking skills, and to recognize the best as encouragement to all. In the interests of time, we will conduct this contest using the same procedures as Toastmasters International. The judges, contestants, functionaries, and sergeant-at-arms have been fully briefed, and the contestants, this is one thing I did not inform you of, the timing lights are directly in the back there. We had to meet in a different room, so they didn't get a chance to see the timing lights. Timers, can I please get a check of those timing lights? Green, yellow, red. Look at that, very colorful and Christmassy, I like it. Protests are limited to judges and contestants, and the decision of the judges is final. The announcement of the results will be final. There will be no protests after the announcement of the winners. All the contestants have had their speaking orders chosen. They chose by random draw. Get out your pens, everybody, because here it goes. Our first Table Topics contestant is going to be Sandy Giacobo. Number 2 will be Stephen Morgan. Number 3, Mark Goddard. Number 4, Reid Manchester. And number 5, Ken Blake. Before I go any further, I just want to find out, does anybody have a beeper, a cell phone, or anything that makes noise in their possession? If you do, please switch it to airplane mode. Not silent, but airplane mode. I explained in the last contest that if you switch it to silent and there's an emergency warning that comes through, whether it be an amber alert, a silver alert, or one of the weather warnings, they actually will ring out loud if your phone is on silent. And that happened at an international contest once, so we don't want to see that happen and disrupt our speakers. So please, put your phone off airplane mode. All the contestants will be given the same question. The first contestant will remain in the room, and the other contestants will be escorted out. We will also have 1 minute of silence in between each of the contestants so that the judges can mark their ballots and the upcoming contestant can prepare. So if we can please be mindful of the silence, that would be greatly appreciated for the judges and the contestants. At this time, I'd like to ask the Table Topics contestants, except for Sandy, to please go see Sergeant-at-Arms in the back of the room. Sergeant-at-Arms, if you can close the doors. Let's get this contest rocking and rolling. And I have 1 minute on the clock, Mr. Timer. Sandy Giacomo, what makes you rich? What makes you rich? Sandy Giacomo.
What makes me rich are the people in my lives. Number one, my church family. Number two, my personal family. Number three, Lakeview Toastmasters, which I have an affinity for. It's a colorful club, and everyone is so much fun. It's the people that you put in your life. That's what makes you rich. That's the true wealth. My children, they're adults now. Joe, who lives in Philadelphia. My son Mark, who lives in Anchorage, Alaska. Though we're miles apart, as a mother, they make me rich. I cannot reiterate to you the final thing that makes me rich are the people in this room who took the time to come and observe, who took the time to be functionaries, who took the time to be here out of their lives. It is the people that in our lives, that we put in our lives, that is true wealth. That is the only wealth.
Do we have a minute, please? Our next contestant is Stephen Morgan. Stephen Morgan, what makes you rich? What makes you rich? Stephen Morgan.
Within our society, we praise so much how much money people will have. And then we turn around and say, but that's not what's important. What's important is the family, the friends. And yet, when we turn on the TV, who is it that gets all the attention? The people with the money. Occasionally you see someone who gets all the attention because the family, 19 and counting, comes in. But yet, I have to decide on my life. I'm afraid I can't say that money is what makes me rich. Because quite frankly, I don't have it. In fact, I have less than zero. For the past few months, in fact, I've been required to put a whole chunk aside that I don't get to use and will never see again. Because that is what the trustee required, meaning bankruptcy. It's not a pretty sight. I have worked for many years, tried so hard, and even to earn a good salary, and to sit there and go, I've got nothing. Which is to say, I'm not rich. But I do have my family. I have my wife who's managed to stay with me through that, which wasn't easy. And we've tried very hard to keep the kids with us as they bounce between coasts back and forth in housing. When I look at people around and you hear about how important it is to keep your finances straight, and yet so many Americans that are having difficulty with how much they don't have and how much they need just to get by, I try hard. And the results aren't pretty. But I guess the true richness comes in the fact that I'm still here and I'm still learning. So keep trying, keep learning, and don't worry what's in your wallet.
If I can get 1 minute on the clock, please, and I'd just like to remind the audience that there is no flash photography during the contest. And Sergeant at Arms, please do not let anybody into the area when there is a contestant on stage. Thank you. Contestant number 3, Mark Goddard. Mark Goddard, what makes you rich? What makes you rich? Mark Goddard.
Madam Chair, fellow Toastmasters friends, what makes me rich? What makes me rich is my family. My family is the core of my life. I don't mean just my wife, because I don't have any kids, but I have dogs. I've got nieces and nephews. And I'm rich, not because of the money I have, because of the experiences. The only reason I go to work is so I can provide for my family. So I can get them the things that they want, they enjoy in life. I talk about my dogs, they're like my kids. I provide for them as well. We don't buy from shelters, we adopt from rescues. So we get special needs animals. And we're even considering adopting a human baby now. So what makes me rich is those things I bring into my life, bring my wife's life. I don't care about the money. It's great to have, because I can do more with it. Get the bigger house, so I have more room. So I love my life. I need time away from her. I need that room. But what makes me rich is so much more than just financial. Because when I'm 67 years old, that's coming up sooner than I like to think. I want to be able to look back on my life. I'm not going to remember that I had a Mercedes. I'm not going to remember that I had a Rolex. But I am going to remember the experiences of my wife, my family, my animals, my nieces and nephews, and hopefully that adopted child someday. So someday I hope to be truly rich, greatly wealthy. But I want that to be through experience. I'm sure.
Timer, 1 minute, please. Contestant number 4, Reid Manchester. Reid Manchester, what makes you rich? What makes you rich? Reid Manchester.
A longtime member of our club named Denny Ward once did a speech for us entitled, "What Makes You a Millionaire? Why Are You Rich?" Denny had a pretty good life, by most accounts. But in his later years, unfortunately, he'd fallen very ill. And that illness, unfortunately, ate up all of his life savings. Life gets difficult towards the end of your life. And you can't prepare for every eventuality. One thing you can prepare for is what's inside of you. How do you find a smile every morning? Because that's where you're rich. Every morning on Thursdays, I like to go to Toastmasters. I like to make my fellow members laugh wholeheartedly so that they can start off their days. And in doing so, I too have great joy. Being rich isn't a monetary thing, it's a state of mind. You need to surround yourself with people that have that state of mind so that you can enjoy your life every single day, every moment of every day. So the question posed to me, I ask back to you. Who are you spending your time with? And how are you becoming rich on the inside? Thank you.
Timers, 1 minute, please. Contestant number 5, Ken Blake. Ken Blake, what makes you rich? What makes you rich? Ken Blake.
I have 3 sons. Are they wealthy? One is wealthy in education. One is wealthy because he has the ability to talk to people and go up like a great Toastmaster would, introduce himself with no signs of nervousness. And my last son is like me. He works with his hands as a mechanic. And being a mechanic has a lot to do with interaction with people. Because people expect you to do a job correct the first time. And he has the ability to think, and I've taught him very well, we don't know everything in this world. Maybe you're not the best, but if you do your best with people and be honest with them, and you do the job right, you'll be able to sleep right at night. My oldest son has 2 degrees and PhDs. One in mathematics, The other one is what they call genome theory. He works in San Diego, for the University of San Diego, trying to find what causes those diseases, those little things, those little tiny things that are inside us that can help humanity. Because we know that if you can find the actual reason why we get sick, we can stop that at a very young age. But my middle son, I love when he comes and he greets my customers. First thing he does, he comes up and says, "Hi, my name is Jonathan. That's my dad." My dad is a Toastmaster. He's not afraid to talk to anybody, but he had to learn how to do that. See, I got to watch him for all the years that he did it. So I have 3 sons. Those are my riches. The riches that we have today are not here. We don't take them with us. We leave them with our family. So that's what I want to leave with you. There's a lot of riches in this world, but leave it with the children.
Timers, can I get 2 minutes on the clock so that the judges can mark their ballots, please? At this time, I am going to ask our first contestant to come up here, and if I can get a moment, 1 minute, please. Speaking order. Speaking order.
Apparently she's first.
Apparently, Toni is first. Toni is first. I knew I was going to forget it just once. Contestant number 2 will be Mark Goddard. Contestant number 3, Sandy Giacobo. Contestant number 4, Jeremy Udell. And contestant number 5, the other Jerry Smith. May I now have that minute, please, Mr. Timer? Contestant number 1, Toni Giddles. Toni Giddles. Yes, Mom, you are really old. Yes, Mom, you are really old. Toni Giddles.
Imagine your life interrupted. Your aging mother is recovering from a serious illness, one the doctors didn't even think she would survive. You must now take care of her. You are a devoted, loving, only child, so the job is yours. You're frightened. You feel vulnerable. This is brand new territory for you. What if you make the wrong decisions? You decide to put your mother in an assisted living facility. However, you soon realize you are still her primary caregiver. You are the liaison between doctors, nurses, and professionals. This is a job. It's a 24/7 job. Salary, 0. Health insurance benefits, 0. This could be the worst job you have ever had. Not only are you her caregiver, overseeing her life, her money manager, her medication manager, her appointment scheduler, her chauffeur, her errand boy, her entertainment director. And if there's still time, she needs company because she's going to get lonely. Oh man, after a successful career, looking forward to retirement, you throw your hands up and you say, I will survive. Mr. Madam Contest Master, fellow Toastmasters, and any of you who have ever taken care of a loved one or a friend for an extended period of time, I asked you to imagine this. This is my life for the last 10 years. I used to love my mother. But this was a challenge, guys. Well, I decided to approach it with the passion that I approached my career. It took a lot. It was challenging. I didn't know what I was doing. I sought help. My mother, though, has made it an exciting 10 years. Some of you know her. She's a feisty old gal. Let me give you an example. About 9 years ago, when she moved to the assisted living facility and was having trouble adjusting, she got very needy, very demanding, and you know what? Very unpleasant. I would come in a pretty good mood, and she would go into her little thing with me. You finally got here. I need a cup of coffee. I want my pain pill. I'm in pain. Do you know the food is lousy here? Did you bring the toilet paper? Did I tell you the food was lousy here? What are we doing today? Oy vey, nag, nag, nag. This was my life? I don't like unpleasant people. I wanted to run away. What happened to the love, the mother-daughter love that we treasured so much? Gone. I wanted to be gone. I knew, not an option. After several weeks of nagging and complaining, I came to visit her again. And she knew I was upset with her. What do you know? She said, Toni, you're upset. What's wrong? I looked her in the eye. I assumed my power stance. The anger had been bubbling up. And I said, are you kidding? You are what's wrong. My life is what's wrong. You, my good mother, are a pain in the ass. Silence rocked the room. Then she nodded. I am a pain in the ass. You think I don't know that? It doesn't feel good, it feels horrible. OMG, did my mother just agree that she was a pain in the ass? We started laughing. Oh, we laughed and we couldn't stop. And it broke the tension. I realized from then on what I needed to do, who I needed to be for her. This woman needed love. She needed me to be loving, to give her teddy bear hugs, to tell her I loved her, to make her laugh, to give her the best quality of life I could possibly give her. So I started doing it that way. And the resentment and the obligation disappeared. Now my mother has a birthday soon, and I always ask her, how would you like to celebrate? She never answers the question. Instead, she asks me a question. Toni, how old am I going to be again? Mom, you're going to be 99. No. 99? That's really old. I did the math. 99. You are really old. Oh yeah, I guess I am. So she's old. But you know what we discovered on this journey? We discovered love. How to love each other through this challenging time. We discovered how courageous and brave we had been. We discovered that you can experience fear and love and joy and anger all in the same moment, and it's glorious, which is actually the joy of the human experience. Thank you, Mom. Love you, Mom. Madam Contest Master.
Timers, 1 minute, please. Contestant number 2, Mark Goddard. Mark Goddard, failure is not an option. Failure is not an option. Mark Goddard.
Have you ever heard the phrase, failure is not an option? I've heard it all my life. I'm here to tell you tonight, failure is an option. Not only is it an option, I believe it's a requirement if you truly want to be successful in life. Madam Chair, fellow Toastmasters guests, my name is Mark Goddard, and I am a failure. I am. I admit it. It's okay. I'm okay with that. We're all failures at some point. But society is not okay with that. Society tells us failure's bad. It's taboo. Be afraid. And people are afraid. People are so afraid of failure, they don't want to try new things. They miss out on parts of life. If I've had one advantage in my life, it's I learned not to be afraid of failure. I learned that lesson when I was 12 years old. 12 years old, I was in 6th grade, and I was an athlete. I was a big kid. I played football. I wrestled. I was on a weightlifting team. I knew all the coaches, and they knew me. So one day at lunch, I wasn't shocked when one of the coaches calls me over. It's Coach Waters. Coach Waters says, "Goddard, come here." Okay, Coach. I go running over dutifully. Now I get to Coach. He's surrounded by a bunch of kids. There's a chessboard set up. They're all playing. Coach says, "Goddard, you want to play chess?" "Yeah, Coach, I know the basics." "Have a seat. Everyone, gather around. Come on." They all gather around. And Coach and I proceed to play. Now, we don't play for long, because Coach beats me in 4 moves. 4 moves in front of everybody. And to make it worse, he then says, see, Goddard's the biggest kid out here. But chess is a great equalizer. Use your brain. Teach it out wit bigger, stronger kids. Do that, and someday, people like Goddard here, they'll be working for you. Thanks, Goddard. You can go. I don't know what to say. I get up, and I leave. I hear kids snickering in the background. For me, it was strange because I never thought of myself as a big, dumb kid. Not until that day. So I go home at night. Talk to my dad. Tell him what happened. What's my dad do? My dad does nothing. He goes, Mark, what do you want me to do? What I want you to do, let's go. No, Mark, we're not going to do that. I see you've got two options. Option number one, you can walk away. Forget it happened. Coach Lauder's probably never going to bother you again. Or, if you don't like losing, option number two, learn how to play chess. It's a great game. It's the one thing he was right about. I don't like losing. I went back the next day, and I got my butt beat for 6 months by every kid on the playground. But by losing, I started to learn. I started to get better. By the end of the school year, I was good enough where I could challenge Coach Lauders in front of all the kids. And I beat Coach Lauders in front of everybody. No one had beaten Coach Lauders. 12 years old, I just beat an adult at something. I felt great. It was awesome. It made everything worth it. All the embarrassment, everything he did to me, the loss. And I carried that with me. Now, flash forward 3 years. I'm in high school, Lake Brantley. I'm in a chess club there. And every year we have a tournament. First 2 years, I lose early. I lose to a kid named Jason. Now, Jason, he was a great player. He never lost games. His dad was a chess master. His dad taught him to play well. Third year, junior year of high school. I don't draw Jason early. I get lucky. I get Jason in the final round. Best 2 out of 3. Jason wins the first game. Of course, it's Jason. He beats everybody. We're expecting me to lose. Second game, Jason makes a mistake. I'm so accustomed to losing, I know how to capitalize on people's mistakes. I do. And Jason loses the second game. First kid to beat Jason, a kid trained by a chess master. That was me. Nothing else happened, I felt awesome about that. But after a break and we sat down for our third game, the kid I saw in front of me was not the Jason I was used to. Wasn't the cocky kid who was so self-confident. The kid sitting in front of me was scared. That was great. Jason didn't just lose, he lost badly. And it wasn't because I was a better player. I realized later, he lost because he had fear. He was afraid of failure. Out of that tournament, I won this trophy. Can't see the date on it. It's 1988, Teague Middle School, Lake Brantley High School, 1988. I've kept it all these years for one reason. I had a lot of trophies for being strong. I didn't have anything for being smart. I was no longer the big dumb kid. Now, second place, got a ribbon. Kind of like this one. I'm all pumped up, I'm leaving. I see Jason ahead of me. I see him take this ribbon. I see him crumpled up, throw it in the garbage can as he's leaving. So I run up to Jason. Hey, Jason, that was a great game. It's always next year. Jason turns and looks at me. And I remember this from all these years. He says, what am I going to tell my dad? What am I going to tell my dad? I'm 17. I don't know. See, my dad would have been thrilled if I took second place. But for Jason's dad, failure was not an option. So when Jason had to face failure, he was paralyzed by it and didn't know what to do. And he lost. I shudder to think what would have happened to me if I had taken my dad's first option and walked away. I never would have learned how to handle failure. So tonight, I'd like to ask all of you, go home, talk to your kids, your grandkids, whomever. Tell them that failure is not the end. Failure is the beginning. I'd like to take you back to the beginning. My name is Mark Goddard. I am a failure. But because I persevere, because I know that I can overcome, I will someday be a success. I'm sure.
Timers, 1 minute, please.
Contestant number 3, Sandy Giacobo. Welcome aboard, cruising the Carnival Valor. Welcome aboard, cruising the Carnival Valor. Sandy Giacobo.
All aboard! We were to board the train that was going to take us to see the Grand Lady, the Carnival Valor. The train emanated from Orlando, and it was going to take us to Miami, to the Hyatt Regency, 2 miles from the port of Miami. That was going to be great. Why? We weren't going to miss the boat. Do people miss the boats? Absolutely. We stayed overnight at the Hyatt Regency. The following morning, we met the Grand Lady, the Carnival Valor, a tribute to the American flag and to all of us Americans, to the Americans who served in this country. We were served a wonderful lunch, an array of food from Mexico to the Grand Cayman Islands. There was one problem. It was missing Bob Fisher's Divine Meatballs and Gina Lockhart's Fruit Pizza. Both were award-winning blue ribbon dishes. I have threatened to kidnap Bob Fisher, but he's told my companion that he would give me his recipe. I will only know until after the contest. His meatballs are something to kill for. He needs to talk to the chef, patent those meatballs, and Gina also aboard the Carnival Valor. The next thing we did was to book our second seating, which was 8 o'clock, in the George Washington dining room. Bobby Madison wasn't there. Neither was George Washington. However, our server was named Success. True to his name, he was dreamy. I invited him to come home with me, much to my companion's disbelief. Fortunately, he declined. My friends then told me, what would I have done? As Success said he would come home with me, I said I would put him in the garage and make room. He was absolutely wonderful. The food was from Bernays, porterhouse steak with Bernays sauce, escargot, lobster. The only thing legal we were allowed to eat was steak and salmon. They were absolutely delicious. He would point out the attributes of the delicacies and where. My companion at that time said, please, do not tell her about the chocolate buffet. Well, I thought, being a chocolate aficionado, I had things bad. Until the man behind me stuck his stick in the fountain and held up the line 3 miles long. There was exotic fruits to be dipped into. Mango, papaya, kiwi, anything exotic. The chocolate was Giardelli. Absolutely heaven sent. The only problem was this gentleman wouldn't let anybody get near him and had to be removed by the head chef. He was going to monopolize that chocolate buffet. Went back to our room, only to find out that I forgot to pack Lewis's formal trousers. He was known on the boat as Pantless Lou. In the Galleria, fortunately, I was able to rent him trousers. That was a blessing. I also forgot my underwear. At $14 a set, I don't think I'll ever forget to pack my underwear again. After we discovered these two things, we booked tours. And when we booked tours, my companion's favorite thing was to catch a lobster. Being a commercial fisherman, he always wanted to catch a lobster. So we booked lobster hunt. He caught a 30-pound lobster. We named him Mr. Big. Where was I going to put this lobster? I didn't know it. It was coming home with me on top of a mantle. I didn't know how else we were going to smuggle it with customs. We were lucky that they had mantle service for Lewis's lobster, Mr. Big. I am reminded of the Carnival Valor every day as I see Mr. Big, the shopping excursions that we went on, the ambience, success, the chocolate buffet. And I wish that I could take all of you for the vacations of a lifetime. You would have great pictures, memories, and the best souvenirs. Come and see me. My fee is that I go along with you.
Contestant number 4, Jeremy Udell. Jeremy Udell. Changes. Changes. Jeremy Udell.
All changes, even the most longed for, have their melancholy. For what we leave behind us is a part of ourselves. We must die to one life before we can enter another. Anatole France, a 19th century French poet, said those words. And when I first heard them, I was struck by realization. Ms. Contest Master, fellow Toastmasters and guests, I don't know if this is true for you, but the darkest, most difficult, and most painful times in my life have coincided with times of change. But that wasn't the only realization. It occurred to me that we do have to die and leave a piece behind us. I realized when I did not acknowledge the change, or did not fully embrace what it meant, that peace came with me and became a ghost. Are you being haunted by previous iterations of yourself? Let me provide some examples of the specters stalking my life. In 1990, my parents announced we were moving from Youngstown, Ohio, to Orlando, Florida. As an 11-year-old boy, I wasn't offered the opportunity to stay behind. I doubt I would have accepted. My reaction could probably be summed up in 2 words: Mickey Mouse! I was going to be moving next door to Disney World. I could practically smell the ocean as we moved down to Florida. What could be bad here? Then, middle school happened. I had real trouble finding friends those first couple years in Florida, but no trouble being bullied. And I began to miss my life back in Ohio. That's when my first phantom appeared. Ohio Jeremy. You see, my friends in Ohio went on to play football and be the popular kids. But that had been me. I began to see Ohio Jeremy as a strutting, smirking superstar. Ultimate confidence, complete control, and never bullied. And the perfect excuse every time I failed. Instead of looking inward to figure out what I could do better, Ohio Jeremy was there to cajole me and say, "Don't worry about it. If you'd never left Ohio, life would be easy. Everything would be easy." He holds me back. The second spirit to show up occurred when I was married. I subscribe to the notion that marriage is finding that special someone you want to annoy for the rest of your life. And believe me, I started to annoy poor Rebecca early and often. Because Bachelor Jeremy made sure of it. Before I was married, I'd come home from work, grab a sandwich or a slice of leftover pizza, plop myself back on the couch, turn on the tube, and hang out until it was bedtime. Bachelor Jeremy didn't clean the floor. It'd just get dirty the next day. Bachelor Jeremy thought about laundry and said, "Do I need clean underwear? I could order some from Amazon." Needless to say, this did not please my new queen. Clean the floor, pick up after the dogs, wash the sheets. My gosh, keeping her happy is a full-time job. Bachelor Jeremy was always there early on to whisper in my ear and say, "Dude, you don't have to do that. You can do it tomorrow. If she really wants it done, she'll do it herself." I've learned to combat Bachelor Jeremy with my marriage mantra. Say it with me. Happy wife? Happy life. Bingo! Perhaps my most dangerous ghost occurred to me very recently, but has been with me since high school. Back in high school, I had a group of guys I hung out with every day starting in my freshman year. In my junior year, I took a 2-month study abroad program to Israel. When I came back, I was a little different, and I was obsessed with the program. I wanted to talk about it all the time. I really feel my friends tried to understand me, but after a month, they cut me off. Just stopped hanging out. It hurt more than I can say. Devastated doesn't begin to describe it. I was so alone. And I started to feel resentment, very deep resentment. And
and it was resentful Jeremy taking over, a ghost who'd taken over from the time that had happened. He made me ball my fists and clench my teeth, and I'd say, why did they do that to me? How could my friends do that to me? Until a friend pointed out, they hadn't changed. I had. Understanding that helped me release resentful Jeremy. Fellow Toastmasters, I do believe we have to die a little bit to change. At the same time, there's more than that. There's a reason we hold funerals, to say goodbye, for closure. I hope all of you get a chance to hold a memorial service for the past versions of you that may be holding you back. Today is my eulogy for Ohio Jeremy, who never really existed. For Bachelor Jeremy, who hangs over my marriage, but who I can fight every day by remembering how my wife's smile uplifts my soul. And a resentful Jeremy, who always wants to blame others. Who am I? I'm Florida Jeremy. I'm husband Jeremy. I'm grateful Jeremy. Ms. Contest Master.
Our final contestant, Jerry Smith. Jerry Smith, a grand southern lady. A grand southern lady, Jerry Smith.
She was a grand southern lady. Her family dated back to the 1600s. Do you know what that means? That means her family were cool way before being Southern was even considered cool. Even in her final days in the hospital room, when her body was frail and thin, when her skin was pale and there was an oxygen tube serving as a lifeline, she kept her radiant smile. She was like a queen with her court, surrounded by loyal subjects who loved and adored her. Madam Contest Chair, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests, that grand southern lady was my mother, Lydia Elizabeth Mixon Smith. Now, she didn't leave me a legacy of money or lands. But when she passed, there was no debt owed. No one had to pass a collection plate to help with her final expenses. And don't get me wrong, I kind of like money. I like a little land. But Mama left me a legacy just the same. And her legacy was one of faith, family, and love. Now, she was a single mom raising 6 kids from age 1 to 16 when my daddy deserted the family and left us with no financial support. We went from upper middle class to, well, we fell from upper middle class to lower class faster than Marco Rubio's presidential hopes. She said that we kids were her gift from God, and that she would do her best to provide for us, and when she could not, God would. She worked hard in a sewing factory every day, and she picked up odd sewing jobs on the side to help meet the family needs. I believe my mama's faith got her through doubt and despair. It was the final week in her home. She was getting her house in order. She was dictating letters to my sisters, writing the family to say her goodbyes. She wanted to pay off the very last debt she owed. And she said to Jane, my sister who handled her account, Jane, write the check. Jane said, Mama, there's not enough money. 3 times Mom said, Jane, write the check. 3 times Jane said, there's not enough money. Jane finally agreed, secretly was going to go deposit the money in the bank. The mail came. There were 3 envelopes. In each envelope was a check. 3 checks, totaling the exact amount of money that she needed to pay her final debt. And then Mom revealed a secret she'd never told before. Several times over the years, she wrote the check when a bill was due, though she didn't have the money, but she had faith that God would provide. And never, ever once did she bounce a check. That explains her simple faith in saying, Jane, write the check. Now my mom sacrificed for the family. She was offered a job to be the top seamstress for the top fashion designer in the 1960s. But it meant moving to New York City. Now, New York City, to a Southerner, moving there would be like moving to a foreign land. And besides, I hear that they talk funny up there. But that wasn't the problem. You see, moving to that job required working late evenings and traveling a lot of weekends and being away from her children. And my mom would not do that. Mama, don't let your babies grow up to be cowboys. Now, Mama, I want to be a cowboy. I grew up watching Western heroes on TV, but Mama wasn't keeping me from being a cowboy or anything I wanted to be. She just didn't want me to grow up to be a jerk. Now, Southern mamas have rules. But the big rule is this, and the number one rule that Mama had was the golden rule. Treat others the way you want to be treated. And Mama lived the golden rule. I never heard anyone say anything bad about my mother. Even her former in-laws always spoke with affection her name when they discussed their Liddy. Now, anybody whose life is directed by the golden rule will make an impact. And I knew my mom had made an impact on a lot of people. But I truly realized that the day of her funeral. When people came from way across town, from across several states, and back 4 decades to give their final respects. I believe in that last days, in January of 2001, my mom's days were numbered, and the number was getting smaller. And I just got back from spending Christmas week with her in her hospital room with my wife, Brenda. But I had something I needed to say, so I called her up those many miles away, and I said, Mama, I love you. I've told you that many times over the years. A son should love his mother and should tell her so, but I've never told you why I love you so much. A reason why. I love you because you were always there for us. You never abandoned us. I treasure your love, and I wear your love like a medal of honor around my neck. There are three things I think we can learn from this gracious lady. One, have faith, keep the faith, and hold on to your faith. It'll take you through difficult times. Two, believe in family. You can lose a lot of things in this life. You can't afford to lose family. And third, love, and show love, and be loving.
Timers, can I have 2 minutes so that the judges can mark their ballots, please?
Some changes.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry, Miss Dad.
So let's start with our third place table topics contestant. Drum roll, please. Stephen Morton. Second place, drum roll. Mark Goddard. And now the first place winner, who will be representing Division D at the contest on April 17th, Reid Manchester.
Can you guys move in front of the window? It's better than the exit sign. Perfect. All right.
Yeah.
And now our international speech contest. Unfortunately, we had 2 disqualifications for the international speech contest. But our third place winner, Sandy Giacomo. Important. Sandy, you leaving us?
Yeah, shoot, the ride is here.
Okay. Thank you, Sandy. Our second place. This is exciting. I don't even know. Mark Goddard. And the person representing Division D on April 17th will be Jeremy Dell.